Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? I hope you're having a good morning. I am. I'm having a blast right now. I've been I've been doing some crazy stuff. Just so you know, I'm doing some really crazy stuff. I've had the most interesting, absolutely most interesting morning. Wait until you hear this song I've been working on. Hey, JD fan, good to see you. JW, good to see you also, sir. Make sure you hit that. This is gonna be freaking hilarious whenever I release. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is too damn funny. Here, I'll oh, let me get it pulled up for you real quick because this is pretty damn funny. Here we go. I'll just oh my gosh. Let's see if I can add this in here because it is damned awesome. It is. He's right here and open nose. Yeah, it'll take a second. It's done. Oh, jeez. We're gonna have a good time today. We're gonna have a real good time today. Oh, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is too hilarious. Oh man. Let me see if I've got it in here. It is. Thought I did. Oh, there it is. Uh oh man. So here we go. This is for you guys.
Oh, you gotta give it that fuck to it. Spit on that thing.
Feeling high, time to glide. Feel so hard, can't hide my pride. On the grind. Oh, you know fire inside. Woke up, feeling high, time to glide. Feel so hard, can't hide my pride. On the grind. You know fire inside.
Good morning, Funston. How you doing?
Yeah, spin on and make it shine hot too. Push through, still spit on it twice. Get that thing, no shame. Hop to her head, rub and grind, no shame. Hop to her on that day. Remember the name. Ooh, yeah. Spit on and make it shine hot too. Push through, still spit on it twice. Get that thing, no shame.
I think you just threw a hip hop.
Hop to her head, rub and grind, no shame. Hop to her on that day. Remember the name. Ooh, yeah. Spit on and make it shine hot too. Push through, still spit on it twice. Get that thing, no shame.
Oh, you gotta give it that fuck to it. Spit on that thing.
It kills me. Oh, jeez. Good morning, Mad Englishman, and all the guys. Don't know if you know we're having your government election soon. Now, that is a joke. Well, speaking Speaking of a joke, I have this one here, which is pretty damn hilarious. I saw this come up this morning. Let's see if I can bring it back to the beginning. Okay. There we go. There we go. Now we got it. Damn it. Not what I wanted to have happen. And all right, here we go. So this, there you go. This is from Great Britain.
Interesting, bearing in mind last night, Sir Keir Starmer saying that, Jeremy Corbyn would have been a better Prime Minister than Boris Johnson. We're joined again by Dawn Neeson and Eamon Kell-Turner. Thoughts, Dawn, on that?
Can we just have the election now? I'm just listening to what everyone's saying and taking everything with a pinch. What was interesting about Rishi just now was he didn't mention the NHS in Wales, which is appalling. It's a 40% longer wait than it is in England. In Wales, you wait 21.8 weeks for a hospital appointment. In England, it's only 14.9 weeks. Look, only. I mean, it's not great, by the way. It's not great. But the Welsh have had Labour in power since, on and off, with coalitions here and there, since 2000. So they're not covering themselves in glory down in one. So it's interesting that Keir didn't mention the NHS, which is one thing I would have gone in heavier there.
Yeah, you missed a trick, do you think? Your thoughts, Eamon Kell-Turner? You heard him speak there. He said now it's time for bold action. Labour are not matching our pledge of defence spending, which is one of the main points.
I know, but the thing is, I think when you spend the whole time slating the other side, and you don't really have much to say for yourself, and everything
that was an actual point. That's an actual point he made there.
In defence of the Conservatives was almost excusing it. Like, well, we could have done better, but, COVID, we could have done better, but the war in Ukraine. He didn't actually say any vision going forwards, and it was just a lot about, this is what you'll get with Labour, and fear-mongering about Labour, which I always think is a sign of a losing battle.
There we go. That's Great Britain news. Oh my gosh. Where's Welsh Lady Reed? Surely she should have some thoughts on this. Hey, I don't want to force anybody to have any thoughts whatsoever. Just say. But I mean, while they've got these kind of things going on, we got these kind of things going on. Oh my gosh. Oh man. I can't make this crap up. I'm serious. I cannot make this stuff up at all. While we have that going on, let me show you this story here. American airline flight attendants boot 8 black men from flight after claiming they were smelly. So the lawsuit alleges that a white male flight attendant picked out the men and removed them from the aircraft. An American Airlines flight removed every black passenger on board. Every black passenger on board after a staff member made a complaint about offensive body odor. The lawsuit claims 8 men who did not know each other were seated separately on Flight 832 from Phoenix Airport to New York JFK in January. Now, this would have been, the lawsuit alleges that a white male flight attendant picked out the men and booted them from the aircraft because they were smelly. After being removed, crew members spent half an hour searching for another flight, but when no alternatives were found, the 8 men were asked to return to their seats. I knew that as soon as I got on that plane, a sea of white faces were going to be looking at me and blaming me for their late flight of an hour. Ooh. One of the men, Emmanuel Jean Joseph, that's a pretty cool name, Emmanuel Jean Joseph, told CBS fellow passengers Alvin Jackson and Javier Veal were also removed from the flight after taking a connecting flight from Los Angeles. Veal said he began recording when he soon realized all the black passengers were being told to leave. Started freaking out. One man can be heard saying the incident is uneffing professional in the video footage, while another says, "This ain't no random pick." A Black American Airlines attendant at the desk appeared to agree with the claim that the removal was racially motivated after she is heard saying, "I do not disagree with you." The lawsuit claims they had to reboard the plane and endure the stares of the largely white passengers who viewed them as the cause of the substantial delay they suffered during the entire flight home. And the entire incident was traumatic, upsetting, scary, humiliating, and degrading. The group discussed their ordeal as they gathered at baggage reclaim at the end of the flight and lodged the lawsuit on Wednesday in the U.S. District Court of the Eastern District of New York. American Airlines has not yet explained why the men were removed from the flight. Airlines said, "We want our customers to have a positive experience when they chose to fly with us. Our teams are currently investigating the matter as the claims do not reflect our core values or our purpose of caring for people." Attorney Sue Huta said it's almost inconceivable to come up with an explanation for that other than the color of their skin, particularly since they didn't know each other and weren't sitting near each other. Oh, man. Oh, hey, the Welsh, my ancestors are Welsh. Yeah. Surely you have thought she would have thoughts on this. I don't know. I'm not gonna assume that she has, or that she would express those thoughts. More like very corrupt against, not quite so corrupt. Jeez. Oh my gosh. So here's the second one for you guys. Tell me if you like this one better. Oh no, this one.
Oh, you gotta give it that fuck to it. Spit on that thing.
It's the same one.
Oh, you gotta give it that fuck to it. Spit on that thing.
Huh, why does it sound exactly the same? That's weird. I know that I recorded two different ones. Huh. We'll delete that one because I don't need two of those. I have to pull it up. So I thought for sure that I had two separate ones. Oh well. Oh well. I thought that was pretty damn funny. Anyhow, speaking of politics, here we go. Trump dwarfs. I didn't realize that Trump dwarfs. There are really Trump dwarfs? Are those some sort of special dwarfs? Hey, finally, Friday. Yes, finally. Happy Fridays. In the latest fundraising numbers, oh, that's what it is. And show of political force. I don't think does he dwarf Biden or does he tower over Biden? I don't know. New York. Donald Trump's campaign outraised Joe Biden by more than $60 million last month, according to federal filings made public Thursday that detail the Republican fundraising explosion sparked by Trump's felony convictions. Interesting, huh? Hey there, Risa. How you doing? Biden's campaign and the Democrat National Committee together raised a robust $85 million in May and reported $212 million in the bank at the end of the month. The strong showing does not include roughly $40 million raised by Biden and his top surrogates in recent days, or a separate $20 million donation from former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg to pro-Biden groups. Could you imagine you were a mayor and you're able to crank out $20 million for a donation? Still, Trump's fundraising for at least 1 month, at least, seemed to dwarf Biden's. The Trump campaign and the Republican National Committee said it raised a jaw-dropping, well, you know about jaws dropping, $1 141 million in May, including tens of millions. Well, how many tens of millions? Was it 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million, 60 million, 70 million, 80 million, 90 million? Doesn't say. Just tens of millions donated immediately after Trump was convicted of 34 felonies. Maybe it was 10 million per felony. In the New York case. Oh, you mean that case that they brought? They said it was a hush money case, but that's not what it was about. As you're going to find, the appeal shows much different. At the same time, billionaire Timothy Mellon donated a stunning 50 million. A billionaire, not just a New York City mayor, but somebody that's actually a billionaire, was able to cough over a stunning 50 million to a pro-Trump super PAC the day after Trump's guilty verdict. Well, maybe Timothy Mellon figured out something that everybody else should have also. Hey, Kay Marshall, good to see you. I hope you're having a good morning. Hope you're doing wonderful this morning. Now, Trump's campaign declined to report how much money it had in the bank at the end of May, prompting Biden's campaign to question whether the groups were still spending heavily to cover Trump's legal fees. What? No, that would be illegal. See? That right there would be illegal. And if Biden thinks, if you're questioning whether he's using that money to fund his legal shit, I don't think so. The domination crats don't need fundraising. Sloppy Joe will win. Whenever you have, will win in whenever you have time. No big deal. I'm still fighting on your end. Yes. Keep up the fight. I mean, that's what you got to do. Our strong and consistent fundraising program grew by millions of people in May, a clear sign of a strong and growing enthusiasm for the president and vice president every single month, said Biden's campaign manager, Julie Chavez Rodriguez. All she does is she spits on that thing. The money we continue to raise matters, and it's helping the campaign build out an operation that invests in reaching and winning the voters who will decide this election. Really? Let's see. We shall see. We shall see. Sorry. Whew. I feel that one coming.
Got it. Turning on 3.
All right. The money we continue to raise matters, and it's helping the campaign build. A stark contrast to Trump's PR stunts and photo ops that he's pretending is a campaign. Really? So you're telling me him showing up in between being in court, and tell me how many places has Biden shown up? I mean, think about it seriously. How many places has he shown up and actually given a long energetic speech, like really got the crowd fired up, like really got them excited about their choice. Taken together, the numbers detailed in the campaign's latest federal election commission's filings suggest Democrats may still maintain a cash advantage in the 2024 presidential contest. And you know what that means? Diddly squat. Diddly squat. It depends on how you spend your money. The new fundraising figures also underscore the extent to which the rules of presidential politics are being rewritten in the Trump era. We almost, at any other time in U.S. history, a presidential candidate would have been forced to leave an election after being convicted of dozens of felonies. But in 2024, Trump's guilty verdict has instead fueled a massive fundraising surge that puts his team in a position to ramp up advertising and swing state infrastructure just as voters begin paying closer attention to the election. But Jill has been busy. Couldn't talk for him. Oh, yeah. Great morning to you, Shizzy and JD fan. It's to us. That's special. It is funny that they keep saying being convicted of dozens of felonies. What was he convicted of? Because they keep saying hush money, but what was Trump actually convicted of? Think about it. What was he convicted of? And how was he convicted? Because that all looked as shady as F. Well, he can't do that because Jill had been committed against him. Well, that's right. That's right. Mellon has been amongst the biggest donors to Trump and independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., although his support for Kennedy may be fading. Okay. So Mellon has, okay. So this guy's donated to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Trump. Kennedy raised $2.6 million last month and finished May with $6.4 million in the bank. The vast majority of his fundraising total came from running mate Nicole Shanahan. A wealthy Silicon Valley lawyer, the Kennedy campaign spent more than it raised for the month. The numbers reported Thursday did not include anything raised in June, including the roughly $40 million raised by Biden and his top surrogates in recent days. The vast majority, I don't care. So, because he did a fundraiser last Saturday with movie stars, that's where they spent their money. It's awesome that you have to pay actors to come and get up on stage and speak for you. I mean, of course, that's what you do. They're actors, for Christ's sakes. Oh, yeah, he was convicted because he announced his 2024 bid, period. But what was he convicted of? They keep saying hush money case. Think about what he was convicted of. Get back to me on that. Think long and hard. Think long and hard. The Biden campaign said the vast majority of its latest fundraising came from grassroots donors such as nurses, teachers, and retirees. Overall, the Biden campaign and Democrat National Committee attracted more than 3 million new donors last month, according to a statement from the campaign. While Trump is leeching off his billionaires, sycophants, our campaign represented the voices of America, and we're honored to have their support as we race towards November. The Democrat National Committee Chair, Jamie Harrison, said. Hey, man. Yeah, mean tweets. Well, and this is the confusing part, is because whenever you ask people what was Trump convicted of, and they say, well, he was convicted for four felony counts or 6 felony counts or 100. What was he convicted of? What was he convicted of? Once you start looking into it, you go, oh, that looks shady, because they keep saying hush money, but that was already settled. This was a lawsuit initially that was brought about by Stormy Daniels, accusing Trump of this, and was found not guilty. And then a separate court in another state decided to say that he was using campaign funds to pay for it. Well, that didn't work. And so they had to change that up and say that oh no, he by proxy, he knew about this money that went to Stormy Daniels that was being paid from his attorney, and they never proved it. It was all speculation. You can't prove someone's intent unless they tell you. You can't prove intent, and that's why it's bullshit, and they'll end up losing. Motion after motion puts Trump Florida case in slow motion as 3-day hearings begins. So Fort Pierce, Florida, the federal judge presiding over the classified documents case against former president. Oh, I thought this was about Biden, because didn't he have classified documents? Well, they're hearing arguments on Friday in a long shot defense effort to get the indictment thrown out based on the claim that the prosecutor who brought the charges was illegally appointed. Whoa. The arguments over the legality of special counsel Jack Smith's appointment kick off a 3-day hearing that is set to continue next week and bring further delays to a criminal case. It has been scheduled for trial last month, but has been snarled by a pileup of unresolved legal disputes. Well, like in front of the Supreme Court. You idiot. You idiots. Hey, Pay attention. Pay attention, because that's all it was. It was literally a bunch of BS. Just, and whenever you dig into it, whenever you really dig into it, you start seeing that it was crap. Just remember, it was FBI, open up! That's all it was. FBI showing up, pulling documents and falsifying documents and injecting those in there. Now, he had declassified those documents, but of course, they're not going to tell you that. So they're going to say the federal judge presiding over over the declassified documents case, because that's all it was. He declassified them. As soon as he touched them, he declassified them. As soon as he looked at them, he declassified them. As soon as he left office, before he left office, he declassified them. Oh my, that's funny. Those freaking ads of Biden begging for campaign money. Get off my YouTube, man. I'm trying to watch shit. Get off my lawn. Oh, come on. The lawyer thief was totally 1000% credible. Poor Mikey. He wasn't invited to the DC party. Yeah. Oh boy. So the motion questioning Smith's election and funding by the Justice Department is one of multiple challenges to the indictment the defense has raised, so far unsuccessfully in the year since the charges were brought. Even as Smith's team looks to press forward on a prosecution seen by many legal experts as the most straightforward and clear-cut of 4 prosecutions against Trump. Okay. Trump's arguments in the U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon won't involve discussion of the allegations against the former president. They'll center instead on decades-old regulations governing the appointment of Justice Department special counsels like Smith, reflecting the judge's continued willingness to entertain defense arguments that prosecutors say are meritless, contributing to the indefinite cancellation of a trial date. Oh, you don't like it whenever it's whenever it doesn't move fast. Because you want to, don't you want to linger this out in the court system just a while longer? Why not try this after November, whenever he becomes president again? Cannon, a Trump appointee, had exasperated prosecutors even before the June 2023 indictment by granting Trump requests to have an independent arbiter review the classified documents taken from Mar-a-Lago, an order that was overturned by a unanimous federal appeals panel. Since then, she has been intensely scrutinized over her handling of the case, including for taking months to issue rulings and for scheduling hearings on legal spacious claims, all of which have combined to make a trial before the November presidential election a virtual impossibility. Oh, you mean we can't get this in front of a judge? We can't get our trial before November? Son of a, so angered here. So triggered. Hey everyone, how you doing? Good to see you, King Paco. Welcome, King Paco. Oh, it's so horrible. She was rebuked in March by prosecutors. Well, that's just tough titty, after she asked both sides to formulate jury instructions and to respond to a premise of the case that Smith's team called fundamentally flawed. The New York Times cited 2 anonymous sources reported Thursday that 2 judges, including the chief federal judge in the Southern District of Florida, urged Cannon to step aside from the case after she was assigned to it. Why? I mean, that's just like asking Fanny to step aside. But she continued on. They also asked that judge to step aside and recuse himself from it. Oh no, he stayed. And guess what? That's also being held up because it's on appeal. They don't tell you that. Here, AP, why don't you talk about what's going on in Georgia? Huh? Why don't you talk about that? AP? The New York Times cited 2 anonymous sources. Yeah, there you go. They're anonymous sources. Why? Why don't you make yourselves known? Oh, the retribution I might get. The hearing is unfolding just weeks after Trump was convicted in a separate state case in New York of falsifying business records to cover up. Oh, he was covering up that hush money payment to a Prawn Star actress who said she had sex with him. But you also have to remember there was no cover up. It was made up bullshit in the first place. There can't be a cover up if he never paid her. How is there a cover up? She even came back and denied that even happened. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court is set, and she's also being sued. She still owes Trump several $1 million for her bullshit shenanigans. That's all it is. They're just a little salty. Just a little salty. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court is set to issue a landmark opinion on whether Trump is immune from prosecution for acts he took in office, or can he be prosecuted by Smith's team on charges that it schemed to overturn the results of a 2020 presidential election. Wait, this is different. Would these be different charges? What? Huh? I'm confused. So these are different charges altogether. Because the Supreme Court is set to issue a landmark opinion. Really? Are they really? Huh. So how does that work? Supreme Court seems skeptical of Trump's claim of absolute immunity, but decision's timing is unclear. Supreme Court on Thursday appeared likely to reject Donald Trump's claim of absolute immunity from prosecution. How would you know? But several justices signaled reservations about the charges that could cause a lengthy delay, possibly beyond November's election. A majority of the justices did not appear to embrace the claim of absolute immunity that would stop special counsel Jack Smith's prosecution of Trump on charges. Then you weren't listening to the same shit I was listening to. But in arguments lasting more than 2.5 hours in the court's first consideration of the criminal charges against former president, several conservative justices indicated, well, these are conservative justices, could indicate that they could limit when former presidents might be prosecuted, suggesting that the case might have to be sent back to lower courts before any trial could begin. Justice Samuel Alito said that whatever we decide is going to apply to all, get this, to all future presidents. Not past presidents, but future presidents. And seeing that he is a past president, just imagine how they're going to go after him in the future. Oh, they are so screwed. Running to my legal department, get Shizzy an answer. Yeah. That would stop Justice Alito. Good job. The timing of the Supreme Court's decision could be as important as the outcome. Trump, the presumptive 2024 Republican presidential nominee, has been pushing to delay the trial until after the election, and later than justices issue their decision, the more likely he is to succeed. If Trump regains the presidency, he could order the Justice Department to dismiss the case, or, as 2 justices suggested, pardon himself if convicted. Conservatives on the court gained a supermajority in the confirmation of 3 Trump appointees. They have cast aside decades-old precedent on killing babies and affirmative action. Oh, no, they didn't. Oh, no, they didn't. What they did was they actually followed precedent by sending it back to the states to make their own damn decision, because this is something that should have been legislated before it was ever even brought forth into the Supreme Court. That's what the left really hates. They hate it. They hate it whenever their elected officials have to do their job. because those elected officials get held accountable for their bad decisions. The internet stuff in the laws has always been a mind bender for you. The intent stuff. Exactly. Y'all make sure to show some of that love and hit that thumbs up for Shizzy. Oh, I appreciate you, Tammy Bugard. It's good to see you. Good morning. I hope you're doing well this morning. The active questioning of all 9 justices left a strong impression that the court was not headed for the sort of speedy consensus decision that would allow a trial to begin quickly. Well, no, because they had a lot more to say. Justices Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh, 2 of Trump's 3 high court appointees, and Alito said their concern was not the case against Trump, but rather the effect of their ruling on future presidents. Yes, absolutely, they should be concerned with this. Absolutely, you should be concerned with this. And I could see that they would kick this back down to lower court because the laws on this aren't clear enough. And them basically making this ruling for future presidents could very easily backfire on all of everybody. Anybody that becomes president, it could go all the way to any elected official, and they could clearly be arrested, prosecuted, and possibly found guilty of treason for any future president. We've already got one president that if he keeps any of those classified documents or destroys any of those classified documents before they're turned over at the end of his term, that he could be removed for treason for anything found inside those documents. Just imagine what precedent that would set. That would stop presidents from making executive decisions, the hard decisions that presidents have to make. That would stop right there. That's not what you want to have happening. Oh, that would be so bad. Justice Amy Coney Barrett, another Trump appointee, seemed less open to arguments advanced by Trump's lawyer, D. John Sauer, searching for a way a trial could take place. Smith's team is asking for a speedy resolution. The court typically issues its last opinions by the end of June, about 4 months before the election. U.S. District Court Tanya Chupta would preside over the trial and said pretrial issues could take up to 3 months. The court was moved very quickly in prior cases involving presidential power, deciding the Watergate tapes case against Richard Nixon just 16 days after arguments earlier this year. It took the justices less than a month to rule unanimously that states couldn't kick Trump off the ballot. Trump, the first former president charged with crimes, lie, that is not true, has said he wanted to be at the Supreme Court on Thursday. Instead, he was in a courtroom in New York where he is standing trial on charges that he falsified these business records to keep damaging information. So he's standing trial on charges that he falsified business records to keep damaging information from voters when he directed money to former Prawn Star to keep it quiet. Now, this is what they accused him of, but those weren't the charges that were brought against him. Sorry argued that former presidents entitled to absolute immunity, blah, 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 blah. So that's what they were bitching about. They did not like it. They did not like that at all, that Trump basically beat the ever-living bejesus out of them. But of course, we got Trump is proposing to make tips tax-free. What would that mean for workers? Wonder what that would mean for workers. What do you think that would mean for workers? Washington. Of course, Washington would be reporting on this. Former President Donald Trump's new proposal to exclude tips from federal taxes is getting strong reviews from some Republican lawmakers, though a major question remains about the impact of the policy and how it would work. Well, I don't know. Can you consider them a gift? That right there would be something completely different. If it was a gift. So he was charged with one thing and they filed different charges. No, they said that he was being charged with one thing and they filed completely different charges. So they kept saying that this was it was election interference and those kinds of things. That's what they kept saying. Yeah. So what they said in that was that he was charged in election interference, which would be a federal crime that you couldn't be charged for. Also, it was handled in another state already. They just basically it was handled in a civil lawsuit where there was a defamation claim, and then the defamation claim got basically thrown. I mean, it's a bunch of BS. Let's just put it simple. If you try to actually follow the chain from beginning to where it currently is, it leaves you scratching your head because the news reports it wrong, like seriously wrong. Because you have to go back to whenever she was paid some amount of money from Trump's attorney, which it also was, ended up getting indicted for perjury, lying. Basically, Trump was still paying his attorney whenever his attorney did this. Of course, that attorney came back during this trial and said, "Oh no, it was clear that that's what I was paying for," but they never proved that's what he was paying for. Does that make sense? They said, "Oh, his bills were just overinflated." Like the books didn't match up. They could never come to prove it, and you'll see that once you get your hands on the documents, what they were claiming and what he was convicted of. I mean, yeah, they can't say no. Democrats are charging election interference. Is funny considering that's all that they did. Yeah. Sorry, Tammy. I tend to go off on weird tangents. Put tips under the same category as housing allowances for ministers and nonprofits. That's not a bad idea. I like that. Oh my gosh. So, though major questions remain about the impact of the policy, what's certain is that the change in the taxation of tips would affect millions. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates there are 2.24 million waiters and waitresses across the country, with tips making up a large percentage of their income, or being charged a large percentage of their income is being removed from them and sent to the federal government to people like AOC that used to be a bartender and work for tips. Well, you just got to remember. You got to remember one thing. Just remember this. Just remember this.
Oh, you gotta give it that fuck to it. Spit on that thing.
That's the tips she was working for. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to run. I'm going to go grab some coffee. It is time for you to do the same. If you think about it, get that warm brew, pour it down your throat, and enjoy. Nice warm cup of coffee. I'll be right back.
Morning sun, it's a brand new day. Gotta shake the sleep, gotta find my way to the kitchen where the coffee's hot. Take a little break, give it all I got. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Wanna get my cup and start anew. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Take a little break is what I gotta do. Stepping out of bed, feel the reggae beat, shuffle to the kitchen. gotta get the coffee. Start a brand new day. Whiz, get up, it's time to ride. Whiz and Coffee, sweet harmony. Down in the kitchen, beans are on the grind. Whiz is humming to the streaming time. The aroma's rising, filling up the air. Cup of Java magic takes away the care. Whiz away the care. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Gonna get my cup and start anew. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Take a little break is what I gotta do. The sun is shining, so Whiz is dancing with his coffee cup. In the morning sunlight, he's lifting up with every sip and every funky beat. Whiz is ready to take on any feat. Whiz is ready to take on any feat. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Gonna get my cup and start anew. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Take a little break is what I gotta do. Whiz and Coffee, sweet harmony.
My balls are tickling. Yeah, my balls are tickling.
Oh yeah, no, mine aren't. That might indicate something else is going on down there, and we don't want to have that happening. Floodwaters inundate Minnesota towns while another storm transformed New Mexico village into a lake. Oh my gosh, the global warming, climate change. Oh my gosh, it's constantly changing. It tickled his whiz nuts. I used to love that feeling on the roller coasters. Yeah, I'm telling you, I know exactly what you're talking about. Jesse needs to prove that he dances with his coffee cup. I don't know, man. I'm not clothed from the waist down. Just saying. Pants are prison. We ain't doing no wiggles on this stream. No, sweetheart. We'll get ourselves in too much trouble. Oh my God. So, look, Minnesota, several small town tourist meccas in several small town tourist meccas in northern Minnesota have been inundated by floodwaters after a deluge of rain earlier this week, while another powerful storm turned New Mexico village into a lake. In St. Louis County, Minnesota, the home of Duluth, people navigated flood-ridden streets with kayaks and other small boats, and the photos were taken by Care TV showed. Well, let's see if we got some of them photos. Well, it looks like we just got a bunch of old people with bags of sand, and okay, there we go. So that looks like that could be Minnesota. That looks like New Mexico. See the big difference here. So you got this water here, and you got all these trees. Now compare that to New Mexico. You got wide open plains as far as the eye can see. Yes. This is one thing I did love about New Mexico, just as far as the eye could see. Oh, so beautiful. And see, here you got people, they're filling up their sandbags, and they got all this greenery and trees. Yeah, big difference. Big difference. Now, meanwhile, the storm of the 200-person village of Willard, New Mexico, on Wednesday unleashed a thick curtain of 6 to 8 inches of rain and lime-sized hail in the town outside of Albuquerque. As fire crews further south in the mountain village of Ruidoso were still battling a pair of deadly wildfires. Some parts of New Mexico don't see that much rainfall in an entire year. National Weather Service meteorologist Brian Geyer said, well, you haven't lived there long enough, because that happens quite often. It started in the UK. Pitched it down after the day after. Ooh, yes, They actually do seed clouds. That's what happened in Dubai, is they seeded the clouds so it would rain. They got more rain than they expected. Yes, cloud seeding is a thing. Shoot that Zach away. Good morning, Zach. Oh, you can't hang out and chat, but you'll be listening. Hit that thumbs up, Zach. I got a good one for you. You heard the latest, haven't you? It's the Nope, that's not it. This is it right here.
Oh, you gotta give it that fuck to it. Spit on that thing. Yeah.
The National Weather Service warned a more significant rain is possible in Minnesota after the next 3 days in areas where saturated ground and swollen rivers after receiving more torrential rain on Tuesday. Parts of St. Louis, Itasca, and Lake counties recorded more than 7 inches of rain. Dozens of roads were washed out across northern Minnesota after the storm, totally cutting off access to lakeside resorts and causing tens of billions of dollars worth of damage. Officials in St. Louis County declared a disaster after estimating the floods had caused at least $50 million in damage and prompted the closure of more than 40 roads there. Oh my. Boy, I inhaled on that one. Duluth itself fared better thanks to the improvements it made in its flood defenses after the record floods of what? 2012. It's like this happens all the time. But another small towns like Cook and Biwak, how many? Biwakabik? Okay, Biwabik. We're not as fortunate. Governor Tim Walz plans to tour the damage there on Friday. It's just sheer devastation, said Roy Horner, who runs the 85-year-old Comet Theater in downtown Cook that is covered with at least 3 feet of water. Now, inside the theater, Horner told the Minnesota Public Radio that the water has filled his basement and is now more than chest deep at the bottom of the auditorium. Well, elsewhere in Lake Vermilion, I hope I said that right, the flooding cut off all the roads to Glenwood Lodge, meaning the only way you could way into the fully booked resort is by boat right now. We're stuck here. We're not going to go anywhere with our vehicle, resort owner Billy Mugen said. Willard, New Mexico, is feeling the effects of what happens when state's wildfire and monsoon seasons overlap. We went from catastrophic wildfires one day to catastrophic flooding the next, said Geyer of the National Weather Service. Within minutes after the commercial truck driver Mike Bischoff received an emergency alert that a storm was on his way, he was already stuck in it. The 54-year-old was driving his semi-truck on Highway 42 when the hail started to pour down, and then the flash of flood surrounded him and the other drivers on the road today. He was stuck in that there storm, Bischoff said. The hail poured down and a funnel cloud appeared in the sky. My semi weighs 80,000 pounds, and it was a rocking. Yeah, buddy. I wonder why it was a rocking. So much of the Southwest has been exceedingly dry and hot in recent months. Those conditions, along with strong winds, whipped flames out of control, advanced rapidly. The South Fork fire in Ruidoso, evacuations extended to hundreds of homes and businesses, a regional hospital, and the Ruidoso Downs track. You know, it's called weather. It happens all the damn time. Guess what? It gets hot, it gets cold, things dry out. New Mexico is not uncommon. Trust me, every damn year it would get extreme heats, and it's the desert. It's extremely freaking dry. Well, good portion of the desert extremely dry. You had to restore your computer. Jeez, it takes hours. Ended up watching Walking Dead instead. Definitely, I will tell you, Roxanne, it was definitely not as exciting as last night. Last night was a hilarity, and I was on with MG. Yes, I was on with MG, as was the expert, and as was IT Goatee. All of us were there. at one point there's quite a few people, and I did have to leave after a period of time because, well, unlike some people, I might have had to get to sleep and get up early so I could do this. It's okay. It's okay. I don't mind a bit. So there's a question that they have. A new airport could spark the economy in a rural part of Florida. Will the workforce be ready? I don't know, man. Standing there with a flame in your hand. That all I'm saying is something doesn't look right about this here picture. Well, and I would say the way that he's got his hair, that's a bad idea. If he's going to be cutting things or welding, there's going to be sparks flying around. Man, I am telling you, you got to get that stuff pulled back. You do not want to catch that stuff on fire because it'll go up poof. It'll go up poof really quick. That's what's throwing me off. Because the helmet on his head just doesn't look quite right. Because that right there, what he's got is a cutting torch. Okay. So he's got a cutting torch, and it looks like 1740. Oh, I don't think that's a cutting shield he's got. I have to look. 1740 welding. I'm gonna look. Yeah, it is. Okay. It's it's oh my gosh. I mean, he I had to pull it up here. Okay, that's a bionic face shield. That's not it. So here's the helmet that he's wearing. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Now, it could be the same one. Yeah, it looks like it. Looks like it's the same one. Is it sure? Here, we'll pull it up right here. Share this tab. Why in the hell did that happen? Don't. Damn it! Why is it doing that? Oh, there it is. So this is the welding helmet that he's using. So it says, get basic consistent protection with an economically priced fixed shape helmet. This sleek piece of protective gear comes with a matte black finish and a fixed shade 11 lens, considered an all-purpose shade. The helmet includes an attractive decal sheet for customizing the shell to fit your personal style. It's $56.64. You too can own this. It says it is an affordable option for students for stick, TIG, pulse, TIG, MIG, pulse, TIG, flux, color, gauge welding processes. So if you don't know what any of this means right here, well, it's because you're probably not a welder. But this particular shade, let's see, number 11 right there. Damn. Because I'm usually using like an 8 or 9. So that right there, you can just swap out the lens with the lighter lens for using a torch. I know you can do that, but more than likely he's not. I think this is just a posed picture. I honestly think that's just a posed picture. Yeah, you can swap it out, but why would you? I mean, why? Why would you? I mean, you can get some better ones that are made specifically for that. You don't even need a welding a helmet like that if you're cutting. Trust me, you don't need a helmet like that. Just a pair of goggles is more than enough. Just a good pair of goggles, because you want to still be able to see, and you don't have that much of the sparks going in your face if you're smart and you know what you're doing. I mean, just a pair of cutting goggles is more than what you need. But what do I know? I only welded for I don't know how many years. Yeah, but he's a student of Hendry County Adult Learning, participating in the welding program. Checks the torch prior to a welding project. See, I always use safety glasses that were rated for a torch. Exactly. Same here. And that's what I'm saying. He's checking a torch prior to a welding project. Well, maybe a cutting project is what he's getting ready to do. That's what it looks like he's getting ready to do, which would mean that this is just a staged photograph. That's all it is, but that's all right. Because as you can see right here, there's the same helmet. And it doesn't show him, it just shows somebody welding on something. And all it takes is just shoot some sparks. And of course, that's what it looks like, because they had that thing probably lit up like crazy, that camera did. But there's the same helmet. That's what the helmet looks like, and guarantee you that's the helmet he was using. And see, there's a cutting torch, which is cutting through the thing. Now that right there would be a different helmet altogether. Because that right there is a cutting torch. He basically rotates around on a cylinder and cuts a perfect circle off of a pipe. Yeah, we used to have the same thing. You just attach it on the pipe, put your torch on there, light it up, and you've already got it set. And you start cutting. Once you start cutting, then you just take this wheel and you crank it, and it rolls around the whole pipe and makes a nice clean cut. And usually you can cut it at a bevel too, which is pretty damn awesome. And then all you have to do is just grind the slag off of it and get the inside of it and put your facing on it. Pretty cool. But makes it a hell of a lot easier. But I don't understand why they're showing welding, because there's not going to be a whole lot of that going on in an airport. I mean, there will be some, but of course, what do I know? So that right there is you'd use this for MIG, TIG. That's for cutting pipe. And their class is very small. I only see two people in the class. And the teacher. Yeah, see, he's cutting there. So maybe he does. Maybe you're right. Maybe he does have it. But why is he? Either he's really small or he's got an extra large torch. You don't need that big of a torch to do cutting. Weird. Aluminum airplanes. Well, I've welded aluminum before. Quite a bit of it, actually. Pretty cool. Same way with stainless. Basically the same concept of doing your welding on aluminums. But yeah, we welded up the inside of a boat that was aluminum. You're crawling into a space that's I don't know, probably about yay deep. As whenever I was much skinnier, crawling in there with a hose going over the ballast, getting to the very, very front of it, where there was a puncture that had come in, and you could weld it on the outside, but the problem was it needed to be welded from the inside because it had to be reinforced. So I had to go inside there, pound that thing back down, weld it, and then put a patch over it and weld that patch over the top of that. And then pressurize the whole damn thing to see if there was any other leaks. It's like basically a big pontoon. Like it's floating on itself. It's pretty crazy. LaBelle, Florida, one of Florida's poorest counties, is preparing. Well, I wonder where LaBelle, Florida is. LaBelle, Florida. I'm gonna search for that because I'm curious where LaBelle is. Let's look at a map. Look at a map for LaBelle, Florida. Wow. It is slap dab in the middle of the Florida. Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah, LaBelle, Florida is slap dab in the middle of the state. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here's LaBelle, slap dab. So you got Fort Myers over here, and then you right across from that, you hit this LaBelle, which is closer to the coach. and then you're over here at West Palm. Now, see, I've made this trip from Fort Lauderdale to Naples before. That is a crazy drive. I've also made the trip from Miami to Naples, and I was with my wife in Key West. Was it last year, 2 years ago? Was there in Key West. The Hemingway at Home and Museum. Yeah. That was a pretty cool place. Yeah, my wife and I, we stayed somewhere over here, like near the very tip of the it's like the southernmost point of Florida. Well, southernmost point of the United States. They actually have a big, huge thing there that shows what it is. It's pretty crazy. So, sorry about that. One of Florida's poorest counties is preparing for a new Everglades Airport 300 million cargo hub that could transform its economy. Local leaders see the project as a generational opportunity, one that could bring more than 1,400 new highly skilled jobs to their largely agricultural community at the edge of the Everglades. But to make good on its promise, the region's educators will have to overcome some harsh realities. A third of Hendry's County's working age adults lack in high school diploma, which, while almost half speak a language other than English at home, all among the highest in Florida. Before local leaders can prepare residents for jobs in engineering and manufacturing, educators must first help them earn their GEDs and learn to speak English. Amazing how that works. We have some of God's most beautiful country that has never been touched by man, said Michael Swindle, the county school superintendent. And yet, by all merits, you would judge a county on whether number 1 or number 2 in the ugly categories. As the airport project pursues approval, community groups and schools are working to fill teacher shortages and make investments in adult educations. The challenges also include some political headwinds. Most of the county's workforce is Black and Latino. Efforts to tailor education to serve those demographic groups have drawn scrutiny in Florida, where politicians have forbidden programs factoring race and national origin into people's treatment. Isn't that how you should do things? I'm just saying. So they weren't doing racist things, is what you're saying. Florida said, no, we're not doing racism. No. Everybody's going to be treated equally. That sounds like a good plan to me. Maybe that'll work. Maybe not. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me. Does that sound like it should be? Crazy. Educators say the political context adds to the difficulties in recruiting teachers. Why? Why should it have difficulty in recruiting teachers? The plans to convert the small county-owned airport to a private ownership still has to win approval from the Federal Aviation Administration, which will depend partly on solidifying contracts with vendors in Latin America to prove its potential as a hub for perishable goods. Meanwhile, 2 adult education centers in the county expanded with the support from the Future Makers Coalition, a community organization that has spearheaded education retraining efforts across Southwest Florida. It is also paying for a counselor to help adults looking to develop new skills and change careers. Spanish-speaking students have filled the Adult Education Center in LaBelle, the 5,000-person county seat. We've had equality for years in UK, just as some are more equal than others. Of course. That's the problem with it. Is it's like, oh no, we're gonna wait, no. Many are working jobs or have kids at home, which has forced their instructor Sylvia Gullett to get creative to meet their needs. Oh, sweetheart. She started a WhatsApp group so students could organize carpooling or split childcare duties. If students don't show up to class, Gullett texts them to figure out the problem. She doesn't settle for easy excuses. Well, get your ass to class if you want to learn. In the beginning, I had some students who didn't want to continue. Why? Why wouldn't they want to continue? I try to tell people that the only one who can stop them is themselves. Gullett, who was born in Peru before, started her teaching career in Florida 2 decades ago. All right. Maybe they didn't want to continue because your teaching was horrible, or they already knew what you were trying to teach them and they knew more than you. Imagine how that works. As the county's other adult education center in Lewiston sparks fly as dozens of students in thick gloves and respirator masks work towards industrial certifications needed to enter the workforce. One of them, Samantha Garza, 21, and initially studied childcare at a community college in Fort Myers, but after watching some YouTube videos about female welders, sort of like Flashdance, we all saw that movie, she pivoted well, she wanted to go hang out where it gets hot and steamy. Yeah. Good job, Samantha. And she says, I'm an artsy person, so I have more of a steady hand already. I love to be down and dirty doing physical things, so I felt like this would be a career for me. Yeah. No, I'm sure she has an absolute steady hand and she's really good at her job. That's what we want. We want more women doing the dirty jobs. Get in there. And don't complain whenever, that hot spark rolls down your back and burns a hole through you. Trust me, it happens. Woo. Even before the airport arrives, there are still plenty of local employers waiting to hire the students as current employees near retirement age. U.S. Sugar, the Clewiston-based farming giant, has such urgent needs it started an in-house welding program. We're trying to close that generation gap between mechanics and welders, said Nathan Hollis, an industrial skills trainer at the company. You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds to me like all these folks that are complaining they can't get a damn job, that $15 minimum wage should be raised. Why aren't they taking these classes? All these students that are going in and getting their degree in basket weaving, why don't they get a degree in welding? Well, because that might be below them. They might have to get dirty. They might actually have to do some work. It might get hot and sweaty sitting in those leathers, working a 12-hour day. You can't sit by the water cooler and have your local gossip. Ooh. Finding enough instructors to offer the training has been a challenge. Swindle had to recruit a U.S. sugar worker to teach welding and to coax a school bus mechanic out of retirement to lead the diesel mechanics program. You think? These are the people that you didn't want here anymore, that you want to take away their homes. Weird how that works. Still, the program has been so successful, the county is using tuition revenue and donations to open another training facility in LaBelle focused on HVAC and plumbing. Isn't that weird? Like, as Mo would say it, there's hand jobs out there. You just have to go reach out and get them. Well, I know tradespeople are so needed in your country. So many people do not know how to fix a tap. Yes. I was a tradesperson and I got out of it. I was a mechanic. I got out of it. They wanted to rehire me for a hell of a lot of money to come back and basically be a shop foreman. And I told them, oh, hell no. Oh, hell to the no. I am not coming back. I'm not being a shop foreman. I refuse. Well, thank you, sir. And I'm not even that smart. I just walked away from doing that stuff. My wife appreciates it. She appreciates it that I don't come home smelling like like grease and oil and brake dust and all kinds of crap. She appreciates it that my fingernails are clean and my hands are not scarred up, and that I don't leave her at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to work anymore and show up later. So many people do not, but yeah, and this is the problem. Those trade jobs are still there, but you have to get the skill and the experience, and experience takes time. Once you get the experience, are you even any good at it? I've seen people that come in and say, "Oh yes, I'm really good at this," and watch them punch a hole in an AC condenser. Wonderful. There's been controversy around some efforts, including the slide on the topic of white privilege shown during a voluntary meeting with non-industrial staff led by future makers. So that right there, future makers, is what this is about. So as they're talking about this story, just realize that this is what the true story is about. AP finds a way. And I was wondering why they're going through all this fluff. So shown during a voluntary meeting, and trust me, it was saying that it was a voluntary meeting with non-instructional staff led by future makers. It sparked an outcry from conservative activists, just conservatives, that accuse the organizers of racism. Yes, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly the definition of racism. It sparked an outcry. Republican City Commissioner LaBelle suggested it violated Stop Woke Act. Although the event took place 8 days before Governor Ron DeSantis signed the law, Future Maker says it stopped using the slide in presentations. Because what purpose does it serve? What purpose does it serve to grow and give skill to start talking about white privilege or black privilege or gay privilege or any other privilege whatsoever? What purpose does that serve in learning how to weld? To fuse two pieces of metal together. It does not matter whether you're black, white, Hispanic, whether you suck the pole or whether you don't. It does not matter. Welding those two pieces of metal together, all that matters is putting those two pieces of metal together. There's no privilege in that. Learning that skill, there's no point in having any sort of presentation like that. But of course, the political climate in Florida has made it difficult to attract kindergarten through 12 teachers. Why? Why would it be difficult to attract kindergarten through 12 teachers? What is it that is difficult to attract those teachers? Well, because they said no, kindergarten through, your preschool through a certain age, we're not going to be talking about sex. That's not appropriate. We're not going to be talking about pronouns. We're not going to be talking about, we're not going to be showing graphic images to children. Now, as they get a little bit older, you can say a little bit more. As you get a little bit older, you can say a little bit more. But we just want to keep that out of our school. So if that turns you off, maybe it's a good idea that we're not attracting those kinds of people to Florida. I mean, that's a novel idea. Maybe keeping like the sickos somewhere else, like out of the classroom, it might be a really good idea. These people that believe that kids are theirs to do with as they will. If that's what you need is as far as a shortage of teachers, maybe get some better schools. Because I guarantee you there's some really top-notch schools in Florida. I mean, in Jacksonville alone, the nephew that just graduated, he was amongst 450 students in his class to graduate. He was top 3 in his class. Like their turnover has been unbelievable. This is a class that had to go through the planned lockdowns and had to go through, the reopening and reintegrating this stuff. And then of course all the pew-pewings happening in Florida, all the political issues that they've had to deal with. And each one of those teachers came in and did the job and taught their classes. And they didn't have to teach politics, but they did teach civics. Amazing how that exists anymore. As usual, listening and getting ready for clinicals. You have a wonderful morning. You have a wonderful morning, Heidi. Teacher shortage threaten local schools' ability to teach, not just welders and mechanics, because that should be an elective. If you don't need to teach that stuff. It's good to teach it in high school, but you teach that in a trade school. The rhetoric around public education is horrible. Yeah, it is, because it's true, as it's been proven. Or why wouldn't you have more kindergarten through 12 teachers? Unless it's because you're not allowed to force your bullshit down somebody's throat. We don't have chemistry or physics teacher in high school. We left the job opening up for 3 years and we can't even get someone to apply. Well, maybe the location is where they don't want to be. Maybe it's your politics that they don't want to be involved in. The county has been running more marketing campaigns to recruit educators and paying paraprofessionals to secure licenses so they can become teachers with help from a $23 million Good Jobs Challenge grant from the U.S. Department of Commerce. This is what happens. The market dictates. The market dictates whenever government steps in and they start throwing money at a problem, it's usually going to make the problem worse. Do you think there's not a scratch my back, I'll scratch yours? There's a lot at stake for Swindle's longtime home. The superintendent knows where the alligators lie, sunbathing along the acres of canals that irrigate fields of sugar cane. He knows which sabal palms make the best swamp cabbage, teaching his sons how to cut palm hearts out with a knife like their ancestors did to survive leaner times. Yet there's no way to know if all his retraining efforts will be successful. The airport still might not come, especially if the county can't prove it will have the workers ready to support it. For now, officials are trying to fill current workforce needs while test driving their ability to spin up new training programs. Once construction begins on the airport, they know they will have about 2 years to teach a wave of logistics operators, agricultural customs inspections, and other aviation-specific professionals. We're not just talking about an airport. We're looking at this as an opportunity to move the needle on unemployment, on poverty, to a better place. You see what we got here. I'm just curious. So it is LaBelle. It's a city and the county seat of Hendry County, Florida. The population was 4,966 in the 2020 census, and that was up from 4,640. It's part of Clewiston, Florida micropolitan statistical area. It was named for Laura June Henry and Carrie Bell Henry, daughters of the pioneer cattleman Francis Asbury. LaBelle hosts the annual Swamp Cabbage Festival, which is held in honor of the Florida state tree. So LaBelle begins a settlement on the Calahoochee River at the time of Hamilton's distance efforts to drain the Everglades with the hope of promoting growth. The settlement, which lay on the western edge and blah, blah, blah. LaBelle School was one of the 18 accredited schools in Florida. Well, the mayor, the commissioners, let's find out who these people are. LaBelle's first church, okay, Glades County, geography, demographics. White, there's 2,000 white, 538 black or African American, there's 9 American, Native American, 28 Asian, 0 Pacific Islanders. Well, in 2020, there were more. it went up. There was one. 17, there you go. It's 2020 census, blah, blah, blah. Education, the section does not cite any sources. Please help improve the session. It's made up of 4 elementary schools and 1 high school. There's also a private school named International Christian Academy of LaBelle. Climate is hot, humid summers, generally warm winters, according to Köppen climate classification system. It doesn't really tell too much about these about their peoples, huh? Yeah, it doesn't say anything about their politics. I would venture to say they're probably yeah, it seems to be plagued with problems. Yeah. Crazy, isn't it? Crazy, crazy, crazy. Just saying. If you got these kind of issues, then there's something going on. For now, officials trying to fill up the current workforce. We're not talking about airport. Nick Fuentes covers the role of rural America for Open Campus, a nonprofit newsroom focused on higher education. AP coverage received financial support from multiple foundations, and of course, one of them would probably be what they recommend here. The story has been updated to clarify the Future Makers training that included information on white privilege was voluntary and for non-instructional staff. Good morning, Ammo's girl. Good to see you. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. It is interesting to me, very interesting to me that these folks here are getting all upset over the weirdest thing. I don't understand it. Don't understand it. Well, and of course, come to that part where we've got to show some really cool stuff here. This is I don't know if this is going to get me in trouble, but we'll find out. Okay, here we go. We will find out what this is about here.
A few weeks ago, an important collaborator of Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, was arrested for pedophilia and child pornography. I'm referring to Slade Summer, a man with ties to the world of Broadway and cinema, who play a role in the effort to debunk the infamous Pizzagate affair. That is, the network, filthy complicity and horrendous crimes against minors that revolves around the international deep state. We have learned that certainly Jeffrey Epstein and most likely Ghislaine Maxwell were members of the Israeli Mossad.
Whoa. This guy right here. Crazy language.
This makes us understand that the famous trips of many well-known people to Epstein Island were used to blackmail them by collecting.
No, that you have to remember that these poses, the reason that you'll still find these kinds of pictures and images of the Jesus, all of these things that you see, all of these images, the big halo around it, each one of these pictures, they had to meet certain criteria that was set forth. Okay. So the criteria had to be met, that you had to portray certain things a certain way with certain colors and with certain hand signals or gestures. Okay. The reason that and anybody that did anything different, those would not be paid for, and most times would be destroyed because they would be considered blasphemous. Like if you didn't have a little halo around the Jesus, then you would be blaspheming his name. So, and you would be considered a heretic. You would never be able to work as an artist anywhere at any point in time. There's lots of symbolism up in here. You can hardly see it, but over to the left, you'll also see the little A over to the side there. And there's other stuff behind that you can't see. Inside of his robe, there's going to be designs that have to be done a certain way, and the face has to be done a certain way. But main important thing is having these halos around them to show some sort of divinity or some crap like that. And you had to keep them. It was really weird to me because I remember going into what was it, Venice, the Bastille, yeah, going there, and walking through and looking at different sites, and that's whenever we learned about that. Where yes, you have to do certain things a certain way. So crazy.
Collecting evidence of their guilt in participating in heinous ritual crimes against minors.
Mm-hmm.
And if the heads of state and governance officials of the Western world do not dare to breathe out a word of protest against the massacres of civilians in Gaza Strip, it is legitimate to assume that this attitude is due to the intensive dossier with videos inculpating them that are in possession of the Israeli intelligence services. The same thing must be happening with the preparation of the fake pandemic emergency, which was lavishly replicated in all the member states of the World Economic Forum and the United Nations, and also with the farce of the Ukrainian crisis. But this blackmail of the powerful of the world constituted the unifying.
And of course, the sound cut off, but you're getting the point. So this particular person, and I'll explain here. This particular person, minimize that down, is the Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano, and he had been summoned to the Vatican to be excommunicated by Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope. As seen in this video, he courageously spoke out against child trafficking and named individuals such as Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, former editor of the Recount, Slade Sommer, who was arrested for child porn. He went on to speak about how Jeffrey Epstein ran this operation on his island, collecting evidence. Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano also spoke out against the following: stolen elections, COVID mandates, corruption of the church, Israel killing civilians in Palestine, against the World Economic Forum. He's now being charged with denying the legitimacy of Pope Francis and breaking communion with him, and having rejected the Second Vatican Council. So that's what he's being charged with and what he's being kicked out of for. It's crazy. It's crazy. So whenever you see these kinds of things, you go, man, oh man. I do have some joy here for you. Do have some joy here for you. Give me just a second. This is hilarious. That bishop accepted Satan, not Jesus. You're gonna like this one. This is fun. Pretty damn fun.
Man, I seen everything, man. I was over there at the party. I was getting some girls. Like, I was getting some girls. That's all I remember. I was getting some girls. And you know what I'm saying? It was a couple girls over here that I was talking to. It was a couple girls over there that I was talking to. Out of nowhere, I just, see everybody running. So I look, I'm like, oh, they running. So I look at them and I'm like, yo, like, look, why they running? So then I start going over there towards the, running, so in case somebody was ready to shoot me or something. Next thing you know, I see Cuz like come out, like Cuz came out the little John crawling. I like, hey Cuz, what going on, Cuz? I walked up to him. When I walked up to him, blood was on him. So I'm like, yo, what happened, Cuz? So I get up on him. I apply pressure on his wound because I'm a firefighter and stuff like that in Berkeley County, West Virginia. So I like walk up on him, like, yo, Cuz, what happened? So I get on down, apply pressure to his little to his arm and to it. They said he was shot in the head. So like, damn, he shot in the head. Whoa. So I put like my hand on his head, and then like when I put it on the head, like that would happen. So I told him grab my hand, and he was holding pressure on my hand, and like that really it. So then police came, and firefighters came, ambulance came, and like that would happen. I don't know. August 3rd. I mean, what date is it?
How do you feel about it?
Man, I feel like shoot, I don't know. Like, I'm from West Virginia, so I ain't really coming out here no more. Like, too many people be out here doing crazy stuff. Like, I ain't really, you know what I'm saying, I ain't trying to get into none of that.
That is Smokey from Friday, doesn't he? Oh, that was something that made my heart sing. I just laughed my ass off. That was beautiful, beautifully done. Oh my gosh. Oh, just pure enjoyment. Oh, well, it is that time of night, time of morning, time of evening, time of day, whatever it might be. I want everyone to have a wonderful day, have a good time. And I'm going to be sending you, because I'm going to join, hopefully I'm going to join him a little bit later on today, this morning. But I'm going to send you guys over to go see Meme Copy, and make sure you give them a nice big thumbs up and a hello and a wave. And of course, Mo is streaming, so if you don't want to hang out over at Memes, you're more than welcome to go and hang out, with Mo. She's streaming also. But with that, I want everybody to have a nice day. It's Friday, and tonight, of course, the expert will be doing his best at keeping things under control during Friday Night Live. That man, the myth, the legend, the expert. Of course, he will have his normal team of miscreants, which will be his lovely wife, the White Rabbit, Ballstorm, and Dictionary Diva. That's his main characters that he will have. So make sure you go check that out. You guys remember Sunday. I should have a nice crew on for Sunday. We're going to have a good time, everybody. We'll see you very soon. Peace.
Now I gotta call somebody to come get me because my car turned into a spaceship and I don't know how to fly it. I'm not an astronaut.
Bye.